All right. Let's get this stuff started. Let me mute this stuff. Everyone, calm down. We're gonna get this on the way. All right. So, as usual, whenever a new patch comes out, this is my patch 7.19 patch notes. So I'll be covering the patch notes, the Evelynn rework. What I will not be covering will be the Rune rework. I don't really have great reasoning to not to cover the Rune rework. I just think that it's something that I don't personally have much interest in up until like I start to use it. I think it's fine to have like set rune pages ready for certain champions, but aside from that, I don't want to do like a reaction thing to the rune announcement. So just letting you know that's not going to happen. So let's get it started with patch 7.19, the patch after Worlds, where they can introduce cool new stuff. So what are they going to announce? Ardent Censer Janna. Okay, so they're gonna touch that. Azir, Sin Zhao. Cool, that's the biggest things. So what about Azir first? First of all, Azir, super hard champion to balance. Literally, doesn't matter what his win rate is. Similar to Ryze, he's a hard champion to play. Super oppressive if he's meta, because the biggest thing about Azir is not only that he scales like a monster, that his effective range of harass is literally like longer than ADs, most ADs. And so he's got the luxury of being able to deal insane amounts of DPS at very, very far ranges, as well as the fact of being like highly mobile and can initiate. So he's got a lot of tools. What are they doing for him? Unlike most long range champions, hard to kill even when you do manage to get to him. As a result, we're really hard to punish. We need to bring his range down to not artillery levels to focus his identity on mobile, sustained damage dealer. Okay, cool. So what are they doing? Nerfing his base stats, upping his base movement. Okay. Actually, probably a nice trade-off. I take this trade-off. 10 move speed is well worth 16 health. Conquering Sands range down to 720. Okay. So they got nerfed by about 150. Spear length got increased. Cooldown got decreased late game. Increased early. Won't really matter early game, to be honest. Base damage got increased early and late, but the AP ratio got decreased. So what does this say? Yeah, the biggest thing is that the range is decreased, and the cooldown is decreased at later ranks with higher base, meaning that for the most part, I think scaling. You can just cast this a lot in team fights. I'm curious if they re-added the ratio onto something else, like his W. Let me keep looking. Soldier summon range 660. So they nerfed it by command range quite a bit. Cast range got buffed. Can no longer attack wards. Thank God. I actually hate. This is the only champion when he's meta. If you ward the side lane bush, he can actually just kill it from the other side, because he can like throw his soldiers all the way over to kill your ward, which is kind of BS. I'm not gonna lie. I actually hated that interaction with him every time. Azir gains an additional 20%. Attack speed for 5 seconds when he summons a soldier when he already has 2 on the field. Okay, so he has a new thing where you're incentivized to use your W while you have multiple Ws on the field. He's got relatively good recharge, and it does less damage to secondary targets. That's actually really bad. It's really bad, especially against wave clear. So one of the biggest things Azir does right now is he like summons soldiers at the very beginning and like starts like hitting the backline and the creeps to shove really fast. And that's how you get around his like relatively really poor laning phase, is by hard shoving and then being able to get good back timings. Not being able to shove as much is a really big nerf to the champion. But at least at level 1 he has, his ammo is 2 less. Overall, it's a late game nerf, right? Or a buff. At level 11, especially with the strength in numbers, you can do a ton of damage. And base damage got pretty much exactly the same. It's 50 to 195. Now it's 60 to 180. That's not a big deal. It's this and it's this. AP ratio, new AP ratio. Now gains a shield upon casting E, not hitting an enemy champ. That's a really big buff. If he hits a champion immediately, gains a double. Oh, that's a interesting interaction. It rewards you for being able to go in and initiate. The shield duration only lasts 1.5 seconds though. Very similar to, I think, Riven's shield. So you only have a small window to be able to deny damage to you. But it's huge AP ratio buff. Wall soldiers now only interrupt enemy dashes over them when the soldiers themselves are moving. After reaching the final destination, wall soldiers now behave as normal terrain. Oh, that's really bad. What? This is what made... Oh, it's terrible for Azir because you can cut to Azir quite effectively. Now, where you just have to wait for his wall to come out, you know? The Emperor's Divide only being able to stop dashes at the very cast means that, like, as soon as it comes down, your ulti is not that useful outside of just being actual terrain. It might actually be better that this is the case, to be honest, but it's just really strange because, like, it takes away from one of his core strengths, and that it's impossible to dive past this wall. Huh. Well, I think it's probably healthy that he's nerfed this way, but this alongside the decrease in damage to secondary targets makes this champ really hard to play. I don't necessarily think that this champ is going to see a lot of play. In fact, after looking at this, I can only think of this champ as being, okay, he's good late game still. Azir's problem was never late game. Problem was early game, he would really struggle to get out of lane, and he was able to cheat lane by being able to be really shoved really quick with his W. So almost all the power ended up going to his Conquering Sands and his like kind of late game strength. But that's not what he struggled with. Like I see a lot of pretty things attached to what I'm like pretty much worried about, which is I don't think it solves his problem. Like I don't think he'll be played with all of these changes. It's not that they made them more bad. It's that they redefined him as like more of a late game carry, in my opinion, with that's more situational. So overall, outside of the shield ratio, which is really nice defensively, they gave him worse defensive options in team fights, and they made his laning worse. So how is he going to see play? I heard Azir was having a lot of changes, and I never read up about them until now. But generally, I don't mind Azir being less harder to punish. I think that valid concern, especially with the range that he had before, should be something that'd be nerfed. Okay, so they ended up nerfing his overall cast range, his soldier command range, and they removed his ability to like control team fight areas with his ulti, and they gave him supplementary more damage. But that doesn't matter. Like he always did damage. I've never had a situation where going to 2 or 3 items with a Azir, I thought the Azir was weak. I guess the biggest thing is that the wave clear, a lot of the wave clear component might go down to just his W cast, but with it being lower cast range, I just don't see where. I guess I just don't see where he gets play, to be honest. Maybe my initial reaction is wrong, but I generally think that Azir just ended up shifting his power over to more late game status. But right now, and the recent meta like really encourages champions that are effective from the very beginning of the game and scale out and like are strong at one item. And I don't think that's going to be the case with this year. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my initial thoughts. Xin Zhao. So, character without identity, we will give him something specific to excel at. We settled on the idea of Xin Zhao as a duelist. Okay, I like it. Base attack speed got nerfed. Attack speed scaling got increased. That's not going to be like it's that's not what I'm looking at, right? So every third attack does his total AD as bonus damage. Okay, every third attack heals. Usually, this is what they do with champions. Is that a lot of minor reworks are a champion is really relatively boring, so they end up combining two abilities into one, and shifting or like two abilities. One ability that gets taken into and put into like the champion's new passive, and another one of his old abilities, and then they create a new ability that allows him to do something unique. And it seems like it's like kind of like that, I guess. 3 talent strike is the same. Increased bonus AD is really nice. Wait, it goes from total to bonus, and it loses the early damage scaling. So I'm never scaling this ability. It used to be that you could shoot. You're maxing W to Q. I'm pretty sure. Now in this situation, I'm literally only going to put 1 point because it's got nerf base damage and only scales really off total and doesn't have CDR scaling either. All right, cool. That's quick. Yeah, I'm literally going to put 1 point into this. His new W performs a quick slash in the cone and thrusts the spear forward. All enemies are slowed by 50%. Has insane AD ratios right here. It's 1.15 hitting with both. So like what this says reminds me of kind of how Sedge W works, where she does like the like group up and then the hit. Kind of, it looks like exactly the same thing, or it sounds like exactly the same thing. Excuse me. Except for the cast time is reduced by bonus attack speed, which is kind of cool. The damage looks pretty good. Nothing phenomenal, but still like not bad. 240 at max with total AD scaling. Total, which is really, really nice. Audacious Charge. Ever since they lowered the CDR scaling on Audacious Charge, people just stopped taking it. First. It used to be everyone just maxed E first, and then now it's everyone maxed, I think, W or Q. So what did they do for this? They lowered the base damage by a lot. Wow. The slow duration got nerfed by a lot. Wow. And it grants him... Oh, they shifted his old W attack speed to this. So this is a 1-point wonder too. Pretty sure. Yep. 40. It only goes from 40 to 60% attack speed. So at 1 point, if the scaling only goes up to 100, I guess you have to choose between E or Q to max second. I think, from what I understand, this probably still has CDR scaling at Q. It's probably better than max Q second. But I think 40% to 60 isn't that big of an increase. And certainly the base damage increase per level is terrible. But like, I'm not getting much out of base damage out of this either, but the CDR scaling is really nice. So I could see W into Q being relatively strong. And this is the breadwinner, the new ulti. It doesn't give him bonus resist, but it makes it so that it negates all damage from further than X distance away. So let's talk a little bit about this. So the biggest thing about the game recently is, ever since like a couple seasons, a lot of people talk about mobility creep, but one of the bigger things is like range creep is a real big deal. So similar to, okay, I think mobility creep is like a thing, but also like the things that were more like signal lights to me were like CDR creep. Everyone has 40% CDR. Like right now, especially on some roles, you're like, oh my god, I'm over capping on CDR. What do I do? Right? I guess I'll buy this item, and everyone essentially plays at 40% CDR. But on top of that, range creep kind of is in the game as well, where if you look at the average mid laners that used to be played, right? It used to be like Ori, Anivia, and that was like, you know, the relative range of stuff. Ori's range has always been really long, but stuff like Anivia, Diana, Kayle could kind of contest with that. But as the meta shifted more and more away from like, you know, like even Lulu is shifted more to like, you know, Victor Azir is probably the first meta where it's like, well, if you're playing mid lane, and you know, mid laner, if he has short range, doesn't do disgusting amounts of damage or something, it's a problem. And so if you look at all the mid laners, like a lot of them are either supreme at their like relative range, or they're really long range. Something like, I would say Ori's relatively long range, but back when Victor Azir was super meta, that's a really good example of like super long range. As well as that, everyone builds rapid fire right now. Legit, every AD gets rapid fire, and for the most part, the reason why champions like Lucian isn't strong is because it's really hard to navigate a low range threat against all these incredibly like hard champions to deal with inside their like long ranges, right? And so what are the meta ADs? They're Twitch and Tristana are probably, and even Kog'Maw, insane range on ADs. Especially when a lot of these are getting rapid fire, it's super hard to deal with. So how do you deal with champions who are getting range creeped? Now this is Riot's solution. I think this is really interesting. I love the idea of making it so that everything outside the circle does no damage. Like, I really do think this is a really nice iteration, and it's always Xin Zhao's biggest problem in that he is a champion where he went in and he couldn't get back out. So even though he has a kit that's like kind of similar to Assassins or like maybe other bruisers can get out. Like Riven, Jax can get out, but Xin Zhao never could. And I think that I really like that this is one of the ways they're dealing with champions with too much range. I like it in the game. Probably going to be annoying to play against, definitely. But I think stuff like this, it might even be necessary to counter the like super long range of threats currently. All right, let's keep going. Aatrox now unstoppable during his Q. Aatrox not very good right now. He needs all the buffs he can get. So not unstoppable during Darkflight's Ascent, great. Not unstoppable during the startup, but I think it's really hard to react to this startup because the startup animation you only have like a quarter second. When the drop down and the full animation is like almost a full second, so almost everyone who reacts to Aatrox stops the ending, and this is a great buff. He's unstoppable. He cannot be flayed out or like interrupted by anything. Really, really, really nice. Additionally, giving him extra range on his ulti, also super good. Nothing but good buffs for this champ. Caitlyn. Previous attack speed changes nerfed. Reduced trap uptime and vision, but procs deal more damage later. More damage later? Headshots can proc on turrets? I gotta read why they're buffing her. I don't even think she's that bad right now. Like, actually, I think she's like a decent counter pick into certain bot lane champs. I don't necessarily think she needs to be always the best AD in the game. Receive certain round changes to target late game effectiveness, yes. Knocking Caitlyn out must pick status, yes. But then in more cost and benefits since her basic attack feels far worse as a result. Okay. They think Caitlyn's fallen below the bar. Well, they nerfed a lot of things about Caitlyn that weren't the problem, which a lot of the pros and analysts were targeting Caitlyn traps as a real big problem about Caitlyn. But instead they nerfed her base attack speed, scaling attack speed, I think, and it became a problem that way. So they're doubling down on Caitlyn's need to secure early game leads. Okay, so they're reverting your base attack speed, and headshots can now proc on turrets, which is disgusting. That's pretty crazy. Alright, Q now does more damage, so she gets shoved better, so her laning's even better. Trap duration, 30 seconds to 50. That's good. I like that their trap duration is like this. Like, this is cool. The fact that it does more damage later is kind of like, I don't think she needs to do more damage if people step on traps. I just think that the frequency of her being able to reset traps in an area shouldn't be that way, because you should be able to out-rotate Caitlyn's trap line late game if she decides to fully commit a trap line on one thing. But that's not necessarily the case right now, and still isn't necessarily the case in, like, here anyways. It's just kind of... It's pre-rework Caitlyn, but better. It's generally how it feels. So yes, it does less damage early, it has larger charge rate for sure, but why would they do... Okay, let's talk about ADs. Let's talk about bot lane in general. So, Caitlyn, of course, a champion that oppressed a lot of AD picks. One of the hardest ADs to play against for if you're playing any kind of random AD. Because her effective range, her lane bully potential, her ability to shove, all really, really strong. Like, she's honestly one of the biggest lane bullies in the game. So, When they nerfed Caitlyn, what was the Caitlyn nerf the reason why more champions could be more viable bot lane? No. The reason why more champions became viable bot lane and why bot lane meta went like really healthy at one point in time was Doran's shield. Now I was on the end that I don't really like the fact that Doran's shield is being bought as much as it is, especially bot lane, because it lets you kind of cheat out the lane, and it's really hard to punish players who have these shield openers. The one good thing about these shield is that it allows you to pretty much run with almost any support and almost any AD. So these shield really big enabler for different champions to be played. Increase the versatility of bot lane by a ton. Of course, part of that versatility loss means that lane bullies are less effective because D-Shield is so strong in being able to prevent damage and let you regen back that damage in lane. These changes that are being reverted, she's going to be strong again, right? And not only is she going to be strong, although this base health decrease is insane. Oh my god, they nerfed her base health by 50. Not only is she going to be strong, she'll be strong in the D-Shield meta, which is kind of really scary to me. Because it means that they like the current D-Shield as it is in how like it kind of allows a lot of champions to get through laning phase. And if there's ever a situation where D-Shield gets nerfed, Caitlyn becomes God again. Because she can then just like push out almost every AD in the game. I don't know. It definitely isn't what I would have liked. I'm okay with the attack speed revamp. I'm okay with the health decrease. I just don't think she needed more early power. Because I thought she did her job relatively fine. And the reason why she wasn't doing her job relatively fine is because of D-Shield. And sure, Caitlyn's build D-Shield half the time, but that's because it's just D-Shield is just more effective. Oh, the trap is bonus damage too. Okay, it's not that bad. It's only really effective late game, rather than total damage. I don't know. It just seems weird. I like, of all the things, I like the base health nerf. If they're going to be able to bring back all of this stuff for her, it means that if she does get caught early, losing 50 health at level 1, quite a significant nerf. But just strange how they... Like, I don't think she's that bad. I just think Riot thinks she's awful. But there's champions out there that are seeing less play than Caitlyn. Much like champions like MF, for instance, I think are in much worse positions than Caitlyn. And somehow Caitlyn gets touched way before. Let's talk Janna. Really abusive champ. The reason why Janna is looked down upon in general is because her skill floor is very low. If you want to get carried, you play Janna. You buy Ardent, boom. You're golden, right? And that's the only reason why people look down on Janna, because she's easy to play. If she becomes harder to play, that's probably something that Riot should look into. So, what are they saying? So, we're making more aggressive risk playstyle. I like it. Is a net power down for Janna. Okay, cool. Love it. Great. Her attack range, her attack range is increased, so people actually have to auto attack? Okay. Her missile speed gets increased, her base health gets increased, so she should be more aggressive because they buffed her auto range by 75. 75 is such a large amount to buff auto range. Attack, this is great. Like, if you're an aggressive Janna player, well, one, you should be, because there's a lot of situations where Janna should be autoing. This is a great buff for you. You should be very happy for this buff. Now benefits from 8% tailwind move speed increase. Basic attacks, okay, means she can skip boots even more than she is now. Basic attacks and single target deal bonus magic damage equal to 35% of her bonus move speed. What? Now counts toward bonus magic damage, so base move speed is 35. Grants 9 magic damage by itself, so sure, auto attacks do more damage. Interesting. Howling Gale, mana cost decreased early. The range got increased initially, cooldown got buffed early, nerfed late. Hallygale always reaches its endpoint when providing seconds, meaning a fully charged cast moves 75% slower than an instant cast. Or faster. So you get rewarded for... You get rewarded for charging it up. Okay, that's cool. Harder to dodge if you fully charge it up. Zephyr. Dude, this is going to encourage people to build on-hit Janna. 100%. That's probably going to be me. I'm not going to lie. Zephyr. Cooldown decreased to 8 seconds. Slow duration decreased to 2. Passive movement speed. Her range got nerfed. Okay, this is quite a good... Like, you're encouraged to use this a lot more, and then I have this 18 seconds at early ranks. Holy Jesus. If you... Usually what happens is you trade in between Janna E cooldown. 18 seconds to get trades? Oh my god. That's so long. You get... Right, Janna gets punished by like poke-oriented champions or champions with like a lot of sustain that can keep doing stuff. That's... If you get rolled over by Janna right now, that's probably because the Janna player just played better than you. If you're playing like an aggressive lane like, you know, Callista Thresh, and you lose to a Janna lane, you probably just got outplayed. Which is good. I like seeing that. I think, generally, I like the way her changes are working. You'll still max E first. And it just means that you're rewarded for being able to play the champion better. I think it's definitely going to make her harder to play. But that's good. I think even Soraka benefited from that when before she just healed for free. Now she has to land her Qs to actually get like more regen, and like her E is technically a skill shot. So even though I don't like Soraka, like I think increasing the skill level of these champions makes people less inclined to rage at them. All right, let's talk Malphite. This champion doesn't see play because he's like the lost son of tanks, in that all the tanks got these cool like nifty percentage max health damage abilities, and Malphite's just like, hey, what's up guys, I still run after 4 spells. So what happens now? His trip armor passive now tripled while Granite Shield is active. Tripled? Wait, so I'm gonna... Okay, so if you're playing against ADs and you play this champion, they want Malphite to be like that strictly anti-AD champ. Similar to Rammus countering auto attackers, they want Malphite to really feel like he's God against ADs. Alright. I still think he struggles a decent amount in lane, but dang, 90% armor. I like it. I think that's cool. I like that his identity is now and should be, I'm here to beat up teams that run like Lucian mid and Trist. Okay. Unfortunately, he still loses laning phase to a lot of top laners, but at least now he has something to look forward to if he gets out. Ori. Q ball traveling speed increased. Oh, that's a nice buff. If buffer will fire at the destination of the ball and stop moving, will fire at the destination of the ball and stop moving. Okay. They just make it so that you can't dodge it as easier as you could before with the missile speed, and that you could buff for it easier. That's a nice buff. Now, honestly, missile speed increases for buffs are always good for Ori. Noticeable buff. I don't necessarily think she needed this, but sure. Ornn, mana increased? Yes. Q and E mana cost... Okay, I play a lot of Ornn. This champ's mana costs make no sense, to be honest. I understand the worry that if they gave him short mana cost, then like he could just spam all of his stuff, but his damage isn't high enough to warrant it. So you never want to do full rotations of damage on Ornn. When I play Ornn, I literally only harass with W and my auto attack. And people are like, why don't you E them, dude? And I'm just like, because I spend half my mana bar doing that. So they buffed his base mana, they buffed his Volcanic Rupture mana, and they buffed his Searing Charge. This is the biggest thing because you're skilling Q second. I kind of like this. I still think he's missing a little bit of damage, but he is ungodly tanky. So maybe not necessary. Maybe not necessary. Wait, Ori was nerfed? It's only will fire when the ball stops moving. That... W and ulti. You can still buffer the ball, it just takes longer. That's why they buffed the Q to make up for it. You can't buffer. Okay. I feel like that just makes it more clear for the enemy team. That's why the missile speed got increased to make up for this. I don't know. It is a nerf, but with the missile speed being increased by what is this, like more than 10%, I think it won't be as bad as people think. Might be a very slight nerf, but generally, it's not a big deal. I think Ori's in a great spot right now. Vayne. Oh, we're talking Vayne? This champ sucks and should suck. She should be a niche counter pick because she's like incredibly strong. If she's meta, then Riot messed up. So what are they doing? Decent plays for most players. She's clearly defined weakness for laning phase. To mix it out, her high damage output can take over the games. She's more consistently punished for... Okay, yes. We're shifting some Vayne's power back to her laning phase at the expense of her late game crit scaling to make sure potential for high moments is still there. Okay, so what happens? Bonus damage no longer increase when the attack critically... Oh, wow. So you can no longer Q crit for like 1 billion damage. Alright. Silver Bolts now do... less? 4 to 12 instead of 6 to 12, and minimum damage is increased slightly to make up for it. The Q now does 20% more of total AD when thrown in lane before you get crit. And the champion adds to 3 seconds of being Vayne. Final hours duration extended by 4 seconds. It cannot extend the reigning duration past the initial maximum duration. Oh, but you can just like have... You can have a really long final hour by probably extend it at least 12 seconds. So you can just keep snowballing. That's really interesting. They actually nerfed her early game though with this. What the heck? Where was the power they're shifting over to laning phase? Is this it? I guess this is what they considered the shift. The 20% extra total AD. But that's what they thought would help her laning phase? That's not gonna... The flat silver bolt damage is by 10. I guess it'll help it a little bit. I guess it's alright. I just think Vayne's still not going to be good after this. But it is my encourage more non-crit oriented builds. Like maybe Bork might be more an item that's more appealing now with the loss of critical strike on Qs. That's the only thing that interests me about this. Generally, rest of this is really cool. I like the interaction, but nothing's really going to change about her play rate, I don't think. Okay, Veigar. Base health regen increased, W reduced. Ooh, the buffs, baby. Okay. This champion. Oh, the attack range increased. I'm so happy. Base health regen stat. That's so good. This is great. It allows me to CS a good range too. And the dark matter buffs. Alright, so the base health regen stat, really, really nice. Super good. Attack range buffs, really nice. Dark matter buff, really good for late game. The 2 seconds off dark matter early is nice. Definitely nice. I like it. But it's like a mid late game buff, for sure. That's cool. I think... the problem with Veigar, I don't think he has problems late game. I think, the way I see Veigar, if I hit level 13 and I'm even, you guys lost the game. Unless your champions have longer range than me, or can hard initiate and instantly kill me in the initiation, I will win every fight because my E is broken. And if I'm even, that means like I'm ahead. Veigar's E is an ultimate level CC, like just disgustingly good. So I don't have a problem with his late game scaling at all. So this is just extra stuff on top. This is the real stuff. This is gonna help out an okay amount, like a decent amount. You just need to get him out of lane more consistently, and Veigar is definitely gonna be your man. I'll play him more for sure. He's still gonna struggle against a lot of the meta picks, but maybe you're okay taking a 20 CS deficit if you can get him to the point where he is like a little bit behind at 13 with the new W, and he can just take over. Ardent Sensor. Yes, this item is crazy, and the only reason they didn't nerf it is because they didn't want to change the world's meta that much. So what are they doing? They're removing the healing portion. Whoa, healing or shielding ally that grants you the Ardent Sensor buff instead of only your ally. Who is this good for? Let me think. Battle Janna. If you're building on-hand Janna, I'm gonna report you. Just if any of my supports are watching me, that's just, I'm letting you know. It helps Rakan Xayah, so they're gonna be disgusting with this buff, right? Like actually just disgusting. Taric is gonna be really nice with this buff, being able to hit his auto attacks much faster. And Bard should be good with this too, but I don't know if Bard will necessarily want to build Sensor. Huh. Xayah Rakan is just going to be nuts with this, I'm pretty sure. But the on-hit heal, thank God it's being taken off. I think right now a lot of the healing in lane is getting, because of D-Shield, because of Warlords, and because of Sensor, you can skip lifesteal. You're going double crit itemization as carries all the time. And I think that like there's some situations where that shouldn't be possible. Like it shouldn't always be your default item build, but there's just so much lifesteal in the game. You're almost always topped off, really hard to poke down ADs. This will make it so that it's not that hard, and you can hopefully like kill ADs easier. Okay. I don't care about Kayle. Kale's not buying this item. Maybe Kale's buying this item. We'll see. I think Kayle will want to go the other more aggressive items than care about like the AD, but maybe. Bramble Vest. This item's disgustingly broken, and I think that it should be nerfed for sure. I don't think it should proc Grievous. I don't think Grievous Wounds at 50% should be a buyable item for 1,000 or less early. I think it just makes balance so difficult. I think it could be like a lesser effect, right? Like 30% or 25%. And then when you upgrade it, it gets bigger. That way you can balance like healing effectively rather than having Bramble Vest and Executioner just hard counter heals. But that's not the case. So at least it's getting nerfed, thank God. And the damage reflected is getting nerfed as well. So hopefully I don't have to first buy this item every single time the other opposing player has any kind of AD on their team. Good nerf, good nerf. Armor increase for Thornmail? Oh, a lot of people sit on Bramble Vest and don't upgrade to Thornmail. This is good to incentivize more Thornmail increasing. Great for Malphite. Just as a random aside. And Rammus, I guess. Edge of Night. Spell shield duration increased, cooldown decreased. Yes, I'm not seeing much Edge at all. The last time I saw Edge was QD playing AD Scion building Edge of Night. For the most part, 5 seconds, especially it takes like a second and a half to cast. It's really short duration, not usable really. Now that it's getting buffed, maybe you might see a little bit more play. Like maybe I'll consider using it. Righteous Glory, this item is too good, honestly. So what are they doing? They're nerfing the total cost. Great nerf. It allows you too much utility for the cost in terms of initiation strength. Zeke's Convergence. No one buys this item unless you're like, no one buys this item. Yes, it's hard to optimize like they say right here. And it's just really strange. And it doesn't give you health. It gives you armor and mana. Really tough stats to want on a lot of champions. Maybe Blitz wants it. But that's like it. Front-loaded damage increased to 25%. The basic attack damage. And no longer ignites from basic AoE to burning enemy. Now ignites when slowing a burning enemy. Okay, so it makes it so that you're constantly attacking the burn damage, you do more damage. Cool. This is just a buff, quite a good buff too. 150 off. Maybe something you'll look to see on. I guess champions with really low ulti cooldowns. Blitz, Karma come to mind, where you can constantly like activate Zeke's quite a bit. But again, the stats are just really strange. Mana is not a very desirable stat, and so I don't know how effective it's going to be. Definitely with Ardent nerfs, maybe you'll see this being built more. Cool. Okay, spell shields. Spell shields not only block the first ability that hits, rather than every ability that hits at the same time. That's, dude. They said they fixed this, man. I don't believe them. I do not believe them. I hope it's fixed, but I don't believe them. I'm pretty sure they said they did this a long time ago. We'll see. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. Okay. Rotating game mode. Nexus Siege. I'm probably not gonna play this. Not gonna lie. You ping everyone on everything on the scoreboard, so knock yourself out. More things to spam to my teammates. Okay, champion select. We're making quality of life upgrades to champion selects over the next few patches. You know why they do this, by the way? Temporarily disable account transfers. It's so people can't transfer to weaker regions and get awards. It also stops to a large degree boosters, just as an aside. this is very prominent when you played World of Warcraft Arena. People would just export like really bad battle groups to get rank 1. Mastery sorting points, Hextech field. Actually, I want this in rank because I want to fill this out, but they don't have it in rank, so I guess it's fine to do mastery point sorting. I saw the full timeline for the features over here. They're also going to introduce feature by position and mastery points. All this, you know what this is? It's literally Heroes of the Storm. Because they have their own customization where you can do your favorite specific champions you want as well. I think it's a great system. I'm glad they're bringing it over. Not an innovative system, but one that very nice to have. There's a bunch of bug fixes that I never go over. Now correctly, Ari's E-Charm now correctly affects bots on Twisted Tree Line. Yep. I'm skipping this. Overall, thoughts on the patch. Yes, thank God Arden's getting nerfed. Thank God Bramble Vest got nerfed. Thank God Righteous Glory got nerfed. Vayne, I don't think will do anything. Azir, I don't think will do anything. Thank God Ornn got buffed. Glad Janet got nerfed. Caitlyn, I don't like. Because I think that... I don't know. I just think that the reason why she was ultra powerful before and might become ultra powerful again. And I like the Xin Zhao rework a lot. The ulti especially. Is there anything else? Oh, they have some sick skins. First Yorick skin in like 5 years, 6 years. Beekeeper Singed, and they have the Wuxia skins, which are sick. I would buy some of these skins if they were any of the champs I played. For instance, if this was a Diana skin, which I know she has her stupid thing that looks like this skin, I would buy it. Or if this was the Diana skin, or if this was the Diana, I would want a Diana skin. Okay, I'm just saying. Alright, anyways, let's go talk about Eve. So, first impressions of Eve, they're turning into her, it's like classic succubus, whatever. I get it. That's my current... Mistress of the Night is what I think of when I see the Eve trailer. That's my first impression of it. Let's keep going. The demon Evelyn lures praise in with a beautiful lie. Once the victim succumbs to her charms, she subjects them to unspeakable torment, gratifying herself with their pain. Yet humans expire so quickly during agonies. But succubus. All right, cool. What are we going with? So what's her passive? After avoiding combat for a few seconds, Evelyn is enveloped by demon shade. If Evelyn's health is low, she'll recover it quickly while this ability is active. Starting at level 6, also grants camouflage. This makes Eve's hidden for view. Oh, so it's not immediate camouflage early. Oh, she heals just naturally. Interesting. Only if she's low. I don't know what that means, but that's interesting. But she doesn't have camouflage till level 6, so you can't cheese gank level 2 me anymore. Thank God. God bless. I'm happy. Hate Spike. Lashes out in the target direction, dealing champion damage to the first unit hit. If the lash strikes the target, Evelyn's next 3 abilities will deal additional damage. If struck target is a monster, the cooldown will be decreased. Okay, so that's for jungling. After the initial cast, we'll recast Hate Spike up to 3 times to fire a line of spikes to the nearest target. The spikes deal damage to all enemies hit, prioritize the enemy Evelyn is attacking. Jesus, that's a mouthful. Okay, let's look. Okay. So her old Hate Strike becomes a 3 charge ability that she can use after she lands her initial hate spike. You actually have to land the hate spike for it to deal good damage. Okay, cool. More skill-based interaction, like it. You can flash this if you're playing against her. Cool. Anything that makes champions more skilled, harder to play, especially on like ganking junglers like this, I want higher execution, to be honest. Lust Dust. Briefly curses a target champion or monster, briefly revealing their location. Her location. Hitting the curse target with the base attack or even other spells will expunge the curse, refunding the mana cost and slowing the target. The curse lasts for a couple of seconds. If the curse lasts for a couple of seconds, it will charm the target. Is that 2 or 3? I guess that's a long time. The magic resistance will be reduced for a few seconds. The target is a monster. The length of the charm will be increased. The spell will deal bonus damage. Does not break her camouflage. Okay. Count with me. 1, 2, 3 seconds, give or take. Looks like 2 to 3 seconds. 2.5 to 3 seconds. Okay. And okay. It's cool that she has a CC now. I like it. Any unit with a CC automatically becomes better. Because if you're a champion that can only bring damage, you're Cat. But if you're a champion that can bring damage and utility, you're better than Cat. Which I guess is the bar for like kind of bad champions. Whiplash and Empower Whiplash. Impales are... Never mind. Evelyn impales the enemy with her lashes, right? Applying on-hit damage and on-hit damage. Okay, same thing as before. Dealing damage percentage of target's maximum health. Right? I knew you couldn't rework a couple of champions without throwing one of those in there, man. That's why I love you guys. Granted a short burst of movement speed. Okay, so they gave a little bit of her W movement speed onto her E. Enduring Demon Shade upgrades next Whiplash into Empowered Whiplash. Pulls herself to her target before impaling them, dealing Whiplash effects. Oh, so okay, that's sick. Wait, she appears so far behind the target. What the heck? Oh, that's the Ezreal. Wait, yeah, that's the Ezreal porting. It's just to the target. So on hit damage, percentage max health, slows, and she gains movement speed. Cool. That's cool. She has a CC. Is it just point and click? It is, right? Yeah. So she has a CC, a point and click kind of gap closer, and okay, she's like kind of combo oriented. Cool. Now, what is her ulti? Widowmaker. Becomes untargetable, and that's untargetable, dude. We're going Master Yi. Decimate enemies in front of her, then she warps backwards. This ability does bonus damage to a low... Okay, so it's an execute as well. Oh, she can get out of fights this way. A lot of assassins who can get out of fights are much better because they can bait exhaust, bait initiation, and then go back in. Why would you show it like this, dude? You should show it like they're low health, and you should see the Widowmaker come in and like slap them, and they're all dead. That is pretty underwhelming. But so if you, it's an Empower Whiplash. It deals the effect to everyone nearby. So you do the E, like the charm into the E ulti, and hit people for a ton of damage, pretty much. That's cool. That's cool. I like it. Really, cool. I hope she can lane mid lane, but I don't think she can. Okay. As Evelyn, you're a living nightmare for your opponents in Rift. When you sprinkle Lust Dust on your Crush, they'll know they're being stalked, but they have an idea of your location for a fleeting instant. The next few moments are an emotional torment for your victim. Okay, okay. Burst your opponents as quickly with Hate Spikes, and then stick to them with Empower Whiplash. Okay. Alright, she's sneaky. She's sliding? Okay, hold on, let me go back. Oh! Wait, that was sick. Did she mean to turn around like that? Wait, that's cool. I like it. What about this? What was that? Oh, she ultied backwards. That's nasty. Well, that looks cool. What's the charm cast range? It's like 1,000. Okay, cool. That's sick. That's sick. That's cool. That's cool. All right. Evelyn's camo doesn't kick in at the start of the game. She's less of an early threat. Its built-in untargetable effect makes it one of the best level 6 tower divers. Yes, I understand. Reduces your target's magic resist and... Okay. And they show all the skins. Wait, I thought one of her skins was supposed to be blonde. What the heck? Oh, I saw the splashes. The new splashes, they all look good. They're all like really nice splashes. Tango? Isn't this sick? I love this one. Tango Eve looks so cool. Is Tango in here? This is Tango? She's got teal hair. That's not... Someone that I write. Come on, dude. Any writers watching, man, help me out here. I don't want blue hair. I want this. You got me. You got me with this. You teased me in, and I get Frankenstein's Bride. All right. I'm done.